cards were stacked against us. All right, when we weren't playing our game, you never flinched. You never flinched and you never gave up. And you earned it. Yeah.
This is amazing. The feeling last year was unforgettable. The pit in our empty stomachs. We thought about it all year. A lot of people doubted in us, but we knew from within we could do it again. No doubt. We said it every week, every practice. When we're conditioning, we look at each other, we told each other no doubt, and we left no doubt today.
He means everything. He means so much to my team, so much to the program, so much to Coach Beck. I mean, he's busting his butt every day to get us as well prepared for this game as he can. I love this group of guys. I've said it once, I'll say it again. This is the best group of guys I've ever been a part of. It just means everything to me and my family, my program.
First off, before they kicked it to me, I'm like, they better kick it to me. I want them to kick it to me. I thrive in high pressure moments, and that's what happened. I saw the lanes, made the cuts, and got to the end zone. There was so many emotions. I mean, I felt everything. I felt pain. I felt happy. I was gassed, but you know, we got it. We got it there, and we brought another chip to Berlin.
Oh no!
It's amazing, you know, I worked 4 years in a row for this, 4 years, and we finally got it done my senior year, my last game ever. It means so much.
When you hear the phrase, the Windsor Warriors are state champions, what comes to mind?
It just means everything to me. It's our teammate who passed away's birthday. You know, we put it all on the line for him today, you know, and we got it done.
It feels surreal. You know, we come into this season, we said we can't get complacent. We know we got to earn everything back. And these guys, I'm so proud of every single one of them. From the freshmen to the seniors, they work their tails off every single day. And now we're champions again, baby. We can just say that for the rest of our lives.
We're good! This senior class is one of the best I've ever had. We had 15 guys. Where's the cop? I want to arrest these kids. Juvenile delinquents. But, you know, this senior class, right from the very beginning, their leadership really brought us to where we are. Not to mention I have probably the best staff going. Game plan and everything else. But these kids have worked so hard for this. And, you know, I told a few of them last year at this time, we want to go back. We want to go back. And to see that and to go through the schedule that we had, you know, I just take my hat off to these kids. They did a great job.
It's a culture, tradition, the way we fly around. It's every single second in the weight room. It's Coach Mitzka, Coach Silvestri, Coach Arcro, Coach Pescatello, Coach Rabasa. Every single day at practice, over and over, and it's every day, and that's how we do it.
That is indeed how we do it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Meat Grinder. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Bully. With me this time is, right now, Scott Erickson. We're trying to get Ned Griffin on from who's done a lot of work for us in the past, but Ned keeps dipping out. So hopefully we can get Ned on to talk a little bit about what we're doing there. But Scott, championships have been played. Everything's done. The poll has been polled. We have our number one team. I thought, given all the struggles we had with the sites, and we didn't know we had to go to, we're going to the Coast Guard. No, we're not. We're playing 4 games at Veterans Field. Just an overall great weekend. I mean, everything kind of went off without a hitch. The snow held off until the very, very end. I was driving home, and it started snowing, and then we got dumped on the next day. So thankfully, we have to go to Sunday. Otherwise, we'll be playing next week at this point. But just an absolutely, I thought was a very good state championship. The games at Central, a little more exciting than the games at Veterans, but overall a really good championship. So hey, what can you say? You were over at Central. I mean, your impressions.
Yeah, I mean, look, once you got all the teams on the field, the games were pretty good. Once they settled everything, like you said, the venues and all that. The two games at Central were excellent. The games at Veterans I thought were better than maybe the scores indicate sometimes. Now I think two of those were clear blowouts, but the other two were better games than those final scores kind of looked like. But the games at Central were fantastic, capped by Berlin, which is just an all-time moment that we'll talk about here later. But that kid goes down in history as one of the great moments in CIAC final history. I mean, you look at the endings of high school championship football games, and that's up there. I mean, it's not Newtown, but it's up there, baby.
No, it wasn't Newtown, but that's as far as, I mean, I've been doing this 20-something years now. I'm not to date myself, but as far as that goes, as we welcome Ned Griffin to the show. Ned, welcome. Ned does the coaches poll for the Harper Current, and he also does a lot of freelance stuff for us all season. So we've been doing this forever. He used to do the register poll back in the day. But as far as championship moments, I've been doing this a long time, and that was as good as it gets. But Ned, just your overall impression of the championship. We had a little bit of issues with the sites, but at the end of the day, the snow held off, and we were able to play these pretty good championship games.
I would have actually liked to have played Sunday in the snow, but that's just me.
We've done that before.
As Scott referenced, the games over at Root, the medium-sized schools, those games were much better than ours over at Veterans Stadium. Keele-Lehan was competitive and good until about 3 or so minutes left in the third quarter. Then everything sort of went catawampus. Otherwise, over at Veterans Stadium, it was just a show of dominance by Greenwich. Oh my Lord, that game at Greenwich. New Canaan. Sheehan, I didn't get to see much of the Sheehan game. I was writing, but Sheehan Northwest was competitive down to the fourth quarter. And then, like I mentioned, Hand Kinley was competitive until late in the third quarter, when again things. It's funny in football, they always talk about it's always several plays during a game that affect things. In that Kinley Hand game, every little thing seemed to happen at once. Actually, they pretty much did all happen at once. It was kind of wild.
Yeah, no, that was a really good game. You referenced the Northwest Catholic game. That game was actually the Sheehan game. That game was actually a lot closer than a lot of people kind of gave Northwest Catholic before. They played, and everyone kept saying on the sidelines of that game how, oh my God, this is the smallest team I feel like I've ever seen. Like the linemen, give or take one or two guys, were like $150 almost. Caden Davis notwithstanding, but the fact that they were able to hang with Sheehan. Now, certainly the Jake O'Brien, the quarterback injury, he was gutting it out on a bum ankle. That played a factor into it a little bit, but the defense was great for Northwest Catholic, and they were running the ball around all day.
Yeah, and I didn't know what to make of that game going in. I thought Sheehan was going to win it from the start. But Northwest lost to Bloomfield by 2 points. So I figured, okay.
Yeah.
They hung with Bloomfield. Bloomfield hung with Ansonia. Okay, we'll see what happens. I did not expect it to be that tight for so long. All credit to Northwest for that. Like you mentioned, not exactly the largest dudes and not exactly the largest roster you'll ever see, but they definitely accounted for themselves very well in that final. Good job, Northwest.
Oh, I just realized you could hear me. My mic was changed. Now, there you go. It's much better. Sorry about
much
that.
More baritone
Much
now.
better, yeah. Well,
like Barry White, baby.
Yeah, silky smooth. Anyway, so yeah, absolutely. Well, just your thoughts on overall. I mean, the crowds at our games were here and there. The Fairfield County didn't travel well. Only the diehard, the fans there. Although the New Canaan kids did show up, as we'll see. I don't know about Central, Scott. I mean, how were the crowds there?
Yeah, pretty good. Windsor travels well. Berlin had a great crowd there. That place is really built perfectly for state finals. The size of the stadium and everything. I love a route for the state finals, and the fans are right on top of you. Like, that's a great environment there. And all those teams brought fans to those games, unlike the Fairfield County fans. don't like to cross the Housatonic.
No, I know.
But for the most part, at our games, Kinley had a good crowd, but for the most part, and it always amuses me because all you ever hear people talk about is, oh, it's so far to drive. Okay, well, you can go more than 50 miles, and after all that complaining, you still didn't show up.
Yeah. Cold had a little bit to do with it, but you know what? It was a pretty mild. I mean, sure, it was around freezing, but like I brought a ski jacket. I didn't wear it, and I was outside all day. So if I could do it, man, you guys can do it. I mean, some of these fans, but overall, like again, the teams that were close, the Southingtons, the Cheshires, right? They brought the fans. The ones that have a big following, Killingly brought their fans. It was just the two Fairfield County team. Played it, Boyle. Okay. No, we're not doing that. But I agree with you, Scott. Route is a great venue for it. The only thing I don't like is they don't run out of a tunnel or anything, or they don't run. They walk out of a door. That's the only thing.
Yeah, they got to share locker rooms. So at halftime, the kids all have to bring their bags to the sideline so the next teams can come in. But other than that, the venue is fantastic.
Sean, do you want this like a WWE show where they come down a ramp with pyro and everything?
Yes.
The giant screen?
Yes.
Smoke machines.
It's a state championship. Yeah. I mean, come on. But I thought it went pretty well. And
Scott, to your point about a Root being a cool venue, try to envision this. Back in the day, they only had stands on one side. And I remember hearing about the 1989 Class S final in Sony New London. A friend of mine was at that game and said that the number of drunken fights they had in the stands for that game. So just imagine
89?
80, yeah, 89. It would have been an 89. Yeah. So a little different. Things are a little bit different now.
Yeah, not going to fly these days. Although I don't know.
And having two sets of stands, I mean, it's much better for everybody involved.
Yeah, I mean, there was a thought about, if you can't get, like, they've been juggling sites. They've been trying to get the Rentschler, nice for us, but as far as like the cavernous feel, we've all said it's a little bit too much. And plus, they don't seem to really, they don't seem to really want to do anything. Like I guess there was ice there. They didn't want to clear it too much.
Type issues, I was told too. I like playing it.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I don't mind it so much, but if it's going to be a logistical issue, that's if they need to at this time of year, you just need to be able to kind of work with it because of the fields with the fields. And I'm fine going back to Ken Strong Stadium, to be completely honest, but we've gone over that
absolutely
before. So we got a lot to cover. We got a lot to cover today. So we're going to just jump right. The first thing we're going to get to is the top 10 poll. You guys should know all the results you saw at the beginning. You saw our state champions. Sheehan won the class S. Hand won class double S. M was Berlin. Double M was Windsor. And the two large ones were the FCIAC teams, New Canaan and Greenwich. So CCC gets 2, right? CCC gets 2, FCIAC gets 2, and the SEC gets 2. So, all I guess is the balance is there, the yin and yang. It was FCIAC dominated last year, and now it's, kind of balanced out a little bit. So that was good. But we're going to get to the top 10 poll right now. And when we're all talk about where everything, it was kind of wacky to see where some of the teams landed, but Ned has been doing this forever, and Scott knows how the people vote, so we're going to talk about that after this. But here was the final top 10 poll of 2025. The finals are over. The champions have been crowned at last. It's time to unveil the final 2025 New Haven Register GametimeCT Top 10 football poll. At number 10, it's Bunnell, led by Ricky Miller and Roddy Ricketts. The Dogs played New Canaan tough in an early loss, but went on to stun unbeaten Wilton in the semifinals before meeting their match versus Wilton in their first state final since 2008. At number 9, it's another SWC finalist in Brookfield. Despite 2 tough losses in the regular season, Tyler Buttendorf and Thad Balsey rallied the Bobcats back to the Class M final, stunning top-seeded St. Joseph in the semifinals. They were 50 seconds away from winning their first state title in 10 years. At number 8, it's Fairfield Prep. The Jesuits turned in another strong regular season, led by quarterback Robert Manning. Fairfield Prep went 8-2 and then reached the Class LL semifinals again, but lost to eventual champ Greenwich for the second time this year. At number 7 is Class LL runner-up Southington. Injuries nearly derailed the Blue Knights after 2 losses in the season's first 3 weeks, but that merely allowed sophomore back Ben Bollier to emerge as one of the state's top players. They went on a 7-game win streak but ran into a fired-up Greenwich team in the championship game. At number 6, it's Class SS runner-up Killingly. Led by the Allard twins, Hayden and Hunter, the Trailblazers ripped through their first 12 games, outscoring teams by an average of 54-16. But their dreams of repeating were dashed in a tough 37-13 loss to Daniel Hand in the final. At number 5, it's Class M champion Berlin. The Redcoats welcomed back former coach John Capodites, and with a versatile cast led by Cody Puzio and Carmine Rio, went 13-0 and stunned Brookfield on Eli Rice's electric kickoff return touchdown with 33 seconds remaining. A legendary season. At number 4, it's Class L champion Windsor. Led by Gatorade Player of the Year quarterback A.J. Robinson, who set a new state record for touchdown passes, the Warriors went 12-1, their only loss to Southington, and went on to win their first state title since 2014, beating Bunnell 23-13 in the final. At number 3, it's Greenwich. Jack Kelly and the Cardinals had some iffy moments with narrow losses to New Canaan and Wilton, but they used those setbacks to catapult them back to the Class AA championship with 3 bone-crushing victories, including 45-6 over Southington in the final. At number 2, it's Hand. Despite massive turnovers, the Tigers and their bruising defense, led by Tim O'Malley and Connor Casagrande, started the season with a comeback walk-off victory over St. Joseph and dominated just about every team en route to a 12-1 season and the school's 15th state title. At number 1, of course, it's unbeaten Class L champion New Canaan. Led by Ryan Brooks and Andrew Esposito, the Rams' defense was outstanding, almost single-handedly winning games versus rivals St. Joseph and Greenwich. They overwhelmed Cheshire to win their 4th straight Class L title and the 16th in the illustrious career of Coach Lou Marinelli. There it is, the final 2025 registered GametimeCT poll of Connecticut media members from across the state. Let us know how you rank the teams in the comments, and we'll see you next year. Top 10 poll, and let us know what you think of. Again, this is not our ranking. This is a collective vote by all the people who cover football in the state. So, everyone's screaming at, how come you're not ranked Berlin? How they're not in there? People, media members yelling at us. And it's like, guys, it's a vote. It's a vote. We could tabulate together. You got 3 voters here, and everybody has their different opinions, and that's just the way it goes. But the voters can be collectively wrong. I don't know what you guys. I guess we're going to start with Scott. Your thoughts on the top 10? You saw plenty of these teams. Anything stand out to you?
I saw all the top 4 teams. That's the correct rankings of those 4. Look, you want to switch Greenwich and Hand, fine. There's very little between those teams that I've seen. New Canaan's clearly number 1. Windsor's clearly number 4. When you get below that, you can start talking about things. Do I think St. Joe is a better team? Probably, but St. Joe lost in the semifinals. So, yes, we look at the regular season, but it's hard to vote for a team. So it's hard to vote for Wilton over Berlin or Brookfield when Brookfield beat Wilton and then lost to Berlin. So I have to rank them Berlin, Brookfield, Wilton. So Wilton falls down, even though I think Wilton's excellent. If you don't win in the playoffs, which is all that matters, then you can't get ranked above the team that beat you in the playoffs. The only other thing I would say about the poll is I think Fairfield Prep deserves to be a little higher. I thought Fairfield Prep gave Greenwich the best game in the playoffs. I thought they were the second best team in Double-L. Southington had a great run to get there. Awesome, beat so many good teams to get there, but I thought Prep was a little better. So the poll wasn't wild. I don't know if I'd have Berlin quite that high, but they're 13-0. They beat Brookfield. They won, which I thought was a tough draw, because Wilton was there, Brookfield was there. That's not easy. So they won it. They deserve it. If they're number 5, they're number 5. And I think the voters generally got it right here. I know there's some difference of opinion, and I can hear those things too.
Ned, what did you think?
I could certainly make an argument for Greenwich over Hand. I voted Greenwich over Hand simply because Greenwich just trucked Fairfield Prep twice. Although, now that I think about it, I forgot Fairfield Prep. No, Hand did beat Fairfield Prep. Okay, shut up, Ned. But this gives everybody an idea of just what it's like to try to vote into the top 10, in the top 10 poll, and you'll see in a moment what I'm talking about here. I see that Wayne LaForte didn't feel that Fairfield Prep should be in the top 10. I disagree. Again, Fairfield Prep lost to 2 state champions. That's it. And they hung with hand, lost 2017. Consider also, too, that Fairfield Prep waylaid Sheehan 45-0. And Wayne LaForte, to your question about Sheehan, I mean, Fairfield Prep knocked him around. So I personally had Prep ahead of Sheehan. I can't vote Sheehan ahead of Prep. Berlin was the tough one.
Yeah.
Berlin, the class double M and M screwed everything up for everybody because everybody thought St. Joe's and Wilton or Windsor. That Bunnell beat Wilton sort of screwed up at least my ballot. I'm sure it screwed up other people's. But I didn't know what to do with Berlin. Their schedule, the teams they played this year in the CCC, they weren't as good as last season. It's also funny, they got by getting the 2 seed, they actually got a better draw than St. Joe's did at number 1. What was it? I think their opponent's overall record was 4 games over 500. So taking all that into account, that all being said, Berlin did beat Brookfield, and Brookfield beat St. Joe's. So
right,
okay, got to vote Berlin up ahead of them. So that caused a bit of a problem. Not to give a plug to the coaches poll, had a weird one in that St. Joe's finished 8th and Brookfield was 9 by 3 points.
Oh, wow.
Now, and that's interesting because generally the coaches put more emphasis on the postseason and championships and regular season. But St. Joe's, I believe, got that because they played 9 playoff teams in the regular season, which is ludicrous. And what was it? Their opponent's overall record was just absolutely absurd. 96-45. Their opponent's 88% winning percentage, and they won 9 games. So I'm assuming that's why St. Joe's got in there. I'm certain people from Sheehan are not happy that they are not ranked in the top 10 of the media poll. I know people don't like hearing it, and I don't like saying it, but the gap between the larger and the smaller schools, to me, has gotten larger as the years have gone on.
Yeah.
There's also the fact that statewide this millennium, there's been more complaints from the smaller schools about playing the larger schools. So
right.
At times it is hard then to vote for a smaller school when there is that kind of sentiment, sometimes from the teams themselves, that they don't want to play the larger school. So
right.
And again, I mean, Sheehan did beat 3 larger schools. Shelton being one of them. Shelton, which obviously had a hard season, but oh my gosh, look at their schedule. But again, that Fairfield Prep game just still sticks in my mind. You know, I mean, Sheehan, to their credit, they gave Cheshire a run. Absolutely gave Cheshire a run.
Great game.
And both top 10 polls historically have always been double L or L teams.
Yeah.
Especially at the top. So, yeah.
I gave him a 14th place vote, right around where I kind of put Killingly at the end of the day. It's the same type of deal. Like, they had some pretty good wins, and they were close in that hand game, but, you know, it still was that was a tough one. And hand, you know, once you get they got a little bit of steam. They were able to, I put hand over Greenwich. Greenwich was like all screaming about, you know, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Which is true when you want to win a state championship. When you want to look at a poll, I vote for the overall. Overall, you lost to New Canaan, tough game, but you lost, and you lost to Wilton, which, you know, then turned around, got beat in the playoffs by Bunnell. So, you know, Hand only lost to Cheshire on a 2-point conversion pass. Otherwise, they're undefeated, and they're definitely number 2. I mean, you can't argue with it. And this is how you can kind of argue with it. They beat St. Joe though. They're out of conference. They beat up on Brookfield. And I know Brookfield's like, well, there's a lot of turnovers. Yeah, but that's because they were doing that to you, you know. So I thought their defense was on the other hand. And they play an SEC schedule. So, I have Stratford Prep in the bottom 5. I put St. Joe and Wilton at 8 and 9. Again, the overall record, but I didn't put St. Joe or Wilton above Bunnell. That's for sure.
No.
And Brookfield I put above St. Joseph as well. I had the top 4 with New Canaan, Greenwich, then Windsor. And I know Greenwich just absolutely demolished Southington. And that's fine, but then the Southington also lost a few games too before they kind of reinvented themselves. That said, I also threw New Britain in there. I know that's a bad loss, but they answered the bell a bit, and I they needed to get a little bit of love. They had 18 days off, so I don't want to hold it too much against them, but I thought they deserved to get something there. I mean, again, I didn't vote them very high because of that loss. That was a bad loss, man. But I thought the overall record was pretty good. And again, I threw Sheehan and Cheshire a few in there too. So that was mine. I mean, again, I think Scott makes a good point. The voters overall kind of did it where, and I made this analogy on our call this morning, but it's like Highlander, right? If you chop off the guy's head, you absorb their powers. You get the quickening, you absorb their powers. So basically, if you're Bunnell, you beat Windsor, so you kind of collectively get their powers. And if you're Berlin, you beat Brookfield, you basically collectively get their powers, and so on and so forth. So I think that's kind of like how the voters look at it. And but I was stunned that they did not put Sheehan. Usually they love to vote all the state champions in their high. There must have been a few in there that Sheehan didn't get enough to crack the top 10. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
There's been at least 1 or 2 instances, don't ask me to remember the teams, that the S champion hasn't made the final media poll. Again, don't ask me which one. And not to draw this conversation on any longer. One team that I think really got lost in the shuffle here, Newtown.
Newtown, that's right.
Best in the Southwest Conference. They beat Bunnell and Brookfield in back-to-back weeks to beat Bunnell 24-0. Then beat Brookfield 21-7. And their only 2 losses were to 2 state champions, New Canaan 30-10, and they also lost a close one up at Windsor 34-31. Really, the only thing I can look at and go is did not expect them to lose to Ridgefield.
No.
That third loss is the one that you circle. Losing to Windsor and New Canaan in tight games is great, but losing to Ridgefield at home in the quarters is tough.
That is a team that Cheshire shut out, by the way.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Credit Ridgefield. Their 3 losses were to only the best in the FCIAC.
I'll give them very well, though.
I'll give them that. And as I've gotten older, the one thing I've had to remember about high school football and why things unexpected happen: 1, football is a weird sport. 2, teenagers. Whenever I hear a coach go, "Why'd you do that?" Teenagers, remember what you did when you were a kid? So Newtown I thought was the one that got lost, and I didn't even think about this until yesterday. I certainly remember Cheshire beat Hand. I forgot all about Cheshire beating Sheehan. Cheshire beat 2 state champions, and I didn't even realize until after I filed my ballot. I'm like, oh shoot. I mean, I had Cheshire 8, so I'm good, but still,
wow. You had them higher than I did.
Cheshire beat 2 state champions this year.
Yeah. Indeed, they did. So that's why I threw them. I have them in the bottom 5. But that's a tough one. It's tough. I mean, I threw Sheehan a bone too. But I think a lot of people, maybe some of the voters who they looked at that final score against Northwest Catholic and were like, oh, no. But I took into account that Jake O'Brien was when he wasn't hurt, they were absolutely destroying Woodland in the semifinals. That was a destruction. Yeah. And then he got hurt, and that kind of limits him a little bit. Now the team can focus on stopping Durant, which Northwest Catholic did very well. We're gonna get into all that, but overall, I think we did a decent job on it. I was first shocked by a few of them, but now that I think about it, I thought it came up pretty well.
Since when Laporte just brought this up about Cheshire looking horrible against Southington, Cheshire might have been to me they were the most enigmatic team that made the playoffs. They got lumped by New Britain. They went out and beat Windsor 28-7. I was there the night they lost to North Haven 35-21.
Yep.
North Haven 5-5. In a lesser league, they might have done better, North Haven, but regardless, 5-5 record. And oh, by the way, Cheshire, if I remember correctly, ran double the amount of plays North Haven did that night. and they still lost by 14.
Yeah.
And then they go out and beat Ridgefield.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, they were weird.
I mean, they lose to Hand 28-21 on a late fumble by their own end zone that Wilton took in. They lose the next week to North Haven, and then the next week they go to the Surf Club, beat Hand by 1 in overtime.
Yeah. Who was the first one? Who was the first team in that run? You said
Hand. Hand was the first one. Yeah. They go from the 28-21 Wilton loss to the 35.
Oh, that's what. No, it was Wilton. Wilton, North Haven. Then they beat Hand.
Well, yeah, the North Haven loss 35-21, and then they go and beat Hand by a point at the Surf Club in overtime. Yeah. So just to give you an idea of just how kind of crazy it was at times, looking at Cheshire from the outside looking in.
I have something in here too. I have them at 10. So below St. Joe, because St. Joe beat them, but that was still a pretty wild game. Greenwich certainly did, as we'll see. Greenwich certainly did have a statement to make in that game. We're going to kind of go chronological order as the games went on. We're going to start off at Double S, where Hand took on a Killingly team that was, looking to kind of cement itself. And tired, I'm sure, hearing it all year long about how we don't play the types of teams that Hand does. And you guys couldn't win state titles if you had to play this type of schedule, and Hand's dropping down. Now this is their chance to kind of really show what they were about. Now they're coming in as defending champions. Hand dropped down there. Should Hand be in class double S? Well, that's what the numbers say for now. And that's the way it is. But in this game, Hand came out firing pretty early and went up 10-0. Luca Boyce had a great day. Starts off with a 4-yard touchdown run. But, the good Hand crowd there. Then Killingly came back. Great catch here to get them into scoring position. And then then Joseph Mackey took it in for a 1-yard touchdown run to tie the score. And that was 7-7. Hand was able to march back down the field. And with Luca, this was a great play. Sorry, I don't even remember who that was. Was that Boyce on the air, or was that? Casagrande with a nice catch that led to a Anthony Bowe 26-yard field goal and a 10-7 lead. Killingly though came marching. That was at halftime, at 10-7 at halftime. Hand was marching with Boyce just ripping through their defense, getting down inside the 5-yard line. But on this play right here, he gets stripped, and Hayden Allard's right there to get the ball, and Killingly dodges a massive haymaker. And on the next, they had the ball at the 5-yard line, then had to go back because of penalty, and then he finds Mackey. Quinn Sumner finds Mackey for this huge gain down the sideline to set up a Hayden Allard 5-yard touchdown run that put them up 13-10. And that was in the middle of the third quarter, and they missed the extra point, or they botched the extra point, but still 13-10. Then they tried the onside kick, and it looks like they got it. Great call by Coach. All of a sudden, I'm losing his name a second here. Coach. Oh man, what's his name?
Chad Neal.
Chad Neal. Sorry, Chad. I completely. So they call. You could see him completely flummoxed there. They said they were offside, and they make him kick it again. Hand gets a nice run back down the field. They're down 13-10 at this point, and then Bobby Ray gets sacked here, or it looks like he gets sacked. But they called on that play roughing the kicker. Roughing the passer. So they back him all the way up, and Boyce goes in for the 5-yard touchdown run with 2:18 left to go in the third quarter. And then this was where the hand showed up. He gets Quinn Sumner gets a guy in his face, throws the ball up, and Tim O'Malley, he's going to, where's he going? He's going to Nova, right? No, not Nova. He's going to
Lehigh.
Thank you, Lehigh. He gets the 20-yard interception return to put them up 24-13, and Killingly tried to muster a response, but the Hand defense pinned its ears back and started just hammering them. And from then on out, it was all Hand all the time in the fourth quarter. Diego Portley scored on a 55-yard touchdown run. Here it is. Whoop! Bounces it out the outside. He is gone, gets a nice block, and that puts them up big. And he would add a 17-yard touchdown run. But Hand, Eric Becker wins his second title in 3 years, and Hand wins its 15th state championship, and there were 13 of them on that field right there. He gets the douse, and Hand wins the well-deserved title, 37-13 over Killingly, guys. And and it looked like a much bigger result at the end of the day. But Killingley was in this game. They showed up, just kind of got away from him in the end there. And but the Tigers, bring the SEC a banner, and that is that in Class SS land. And there's Eric giving his daughter handed the trophy off to the team, and away we go. So the Hand wins the Class SS championship. They finished number 2 ranked the poll. And afterwards, here's Tim O'Malley, and we talked to Eric Becker about this victory.
What does this mean for you, this championship? It means everything. It means so much to my team, so much to the program, so much to Coach Beck. I mean, he's busting his butt every day to get us as well prepared for this game as he can. I love this group of guys. I've said it once, I'll say it again. It's the best group of guys I've ever been a part of. It just means everything to me and my family, my program.
My work is to uphold the culture Larry started 55 years ago, and my work is to honor the legacy of my mentor, Steve Philpott.
That's 2 titles in what, 3 years or 2 years? Yeah, 3 years.
15 for our program. Yeah, proud of our boys. Thank you, sir.
So there they are. Larry Ciotti and Steve Philpott were helping out Yale. Ciotti founded the program, won 4 titles, and they were all talking about their titles. And Steve Philpott obviously won 7. And then after him, Dave Mastroretti won 2, and then now Eric Becker has his 2. And I thought it was a pretty good effort there. Again, the Killingley side of things feel like they kind of got a little jobbed on the onside kick. I didn't really see a good angle on that. I have not watched the replays, but Chad clearly thought not. Sorry, Chad, I forgot your name. Ridiculous. Too much going on in my head. But then they had the roughing the passer play that basically set up Hand in that touchdown. But I don't know how much that. I mean, obviously the onside kick thing was a huge swing of momentum. That doesn't mean Killingley is going to score there, but certainly the momentum would have been on their side. Maybe it's a lot closer game, but I don't know. Your thoughts, Ned? You saw it. You were there. Your thoughts on that result. Killingley first loss all year.
Yeah. On the offsides play, I did not have a good angle, and I've been very busy this weekend, so I've not been able to watch a replay of it yet. It was a close game. I hate whenever I hear a score was closer. I mean, the game was closer than the score actually showed. But in this case, it kind of was. Killingley on that turnover at their own 5-yard line, go down, take a 14-10 lead. Then it was from the Killingley side, a series of unfortunate events. The onside kick, I call it, went against them. A few plays later, roughing the passer. I think the Killingley side wanted a
intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding, thank you. However, Diego Portley was in the area. Then they got called for another personal foul the next play, and Killingley coaches were telling the players, settle down. Next play, Hand scores. And 2 plays later, Tim O'Malley's pick 6. So there's several things that went wrong all at once for Killingley. But up until that point, they moved the ball on Hand, and I did not know if they'd be able to do that. Hand is not a team that you can out muscle or out physical. Plus, with a guy like Tim O'Malley, they had a size advantage. But all credit to Killingley's offensive line, even Hand. Tim O'Malley mentioned the same thing. Credit those guys that for what they were able to do on the offensive line. The one thing I would say to Killingley fans is the defense could not stop Hand. I mean, outside of that fumble recovery, Hand moved the ball at will, and when they wanted the run, they ran. And one other thing, after that turnover, that interception by O'Malley, Killingley only managed 35 yards on the final 18 plays. At that point, Hand took over defensively. They had enough. They took over. So who knows how that offsides call, what would have happened? I don't know. But up to that point, Hand's offense, they were wrong. They had not been stopped up to that point.
Yeah, no, and certainly I think that was a big factor. But when your Hand senses an opportunity, that's what championship teams do, and that's what championship programs does. Killingley's getting there. Like afterwards, we didn't show up, but afterwards I talked to Chad Neal, and I just said, what do you say to him? And it says just like when we lost North Haven. this is going to catapult us forward. We're still growing as a program. We've won a lot of state championships. We have a lot of, if we want to get into the state consciousness, we want to keep building with this. This is a setback. We got to keep building, but this gives us something to work for. And, maybe they petition the alliance to send them back down to New Canaan or something, or I don't know. I mean, they did play some teams this year. I don't want to give, they did play Bishop Hendricken, which won Rhode Island's, Class 2, what division was that in?
Bishop Hendrickson repeated as Rhode Island's Division I champion.
So,
and sorry to talk over you. I covered that game. I know people will say, well, it's Rhode Island football. It's not California.
Yeah.
Well, okay. But Bishop Hendricken always has dudes. They're a Catholic school pretty much. They can get the entire state because Rhode Island's so small.
Yeah,
and
right.
They're running.
And Massacre just wasn't massing. That's
they
not
weren't
their fault.
No, but circling back to Bishop Hendricken, they have a running back, Jeremy Seidel, who's going to Army. The kid is a legit running back. They had speed everywhere. They had 4 touchdown passes that night. I think the shortest was 45 or so. And they had good size up front. And Kinley jumped on them 14-0, and they won the game. So I certainly can't say that Kinley was nobody, because so if anyone wants to say no, you can't say that. And they lost a hand.
Yeah, there's no shame in that, really. It is what it is.
I mean, this is the two-time SEC league champion as one of these smallest schools in the league. But and circling back to Kinley again, I mean, they won 25 straight games. They won a state title last year. They've won 3 since 2017. This is the golden era of Kinley.
Yes, 100%.
And
they want to get better,
right? And not to go down too far a rabbit hole here, but if you're not familiar with it, people, Kinley and Chad Neal's first 11 seasons, it was a struggle. It's just a lot of losing seasons. It all turned around in 2016, and since then it's been only up from there. It's been a remarkable story to watch, and they have made themselves, through hard work, through coaching, through everything, they have made themselves a top program in the state. So, and I love watching. And I love watching Kinley play. And oh, by the way, I lost his name here. Vaca, who criticized Kinley's offense for being too bland and predictable. How dare you, sir? How dare you insult the manly discipline of the running arts? Come on.
Yeah. If you don't know, guys, Ned is big into running the football. God's offense, double wing.
Tommy Brockett wants a word with you.
Yeah.
Don't ever insult the run. Come on.
Speaking of running game,
wait, can we talk about Eric's sweater though, real quick? I mean, that thing is the best outfit of any coach. And he wore that. I first saw him wear that at the prep game, and he said he got it. It's a vintage, like from the 70s. That thing is awesome, especially with the mustache.
Sean, do you remember the story of where he got that from? He mentioned it at the Guilford game, and I'm drawing a blank.
It was the guy that ran the chains, I believe, at hand.
Okay.
And he got it from him. He told me after the prep game too, and it's lost in everything that's happened since then. But he said it was an old timer, had given it to him as a gift, and it meant so much to him that he started wearing it for the games. I hope it wasn't ruined by dumping water on him when it's 20 degrees out.
I hope it doesn't shrink.
It was almost like felt.
It's real. It's real vintage. I mean, that thing will probably go up in flames if it gets near a match.
Yeah,
it is. I mean, it's
good
awesome.
Point. Good point. Do not get near flame.
That's funny, Scott. Good call. Yeah, absolutely. We hadn't even talked about that nearly enough, but okay. Let's move on to Class S. We got 5 more to go here, so I hope you guys have settled in with your hot cocoa. We got. Let's move over to Class S. It's a little bit of a shorter one here, but in the Class S, listen, Sheehan and Northwest we're having a tough one here. They were 0-0 at halftime before Sheehan finally cracked the end zone on a Josh Durant run. But Vinny Burbank, the Northwest Catholic quarterback, who played great, ripped off a huge run, and they set up Caden Davis's 21-yard touchdown pass to put them up 7-6. But after that, the problem with Sheehan was their quarterback, Jake O'Brien. They kind of kept it quiet, but we knew he was injured in that Woodland game, and he was struggling. He was out at one point, and then Sheehan fumbled as Durant was running the Wildcat, so they put him back in. He's going to try and go. And once they got that lead back, Durant had a 2-yard touchdown run. This was their first of the game, the one you're looking at here. But once they got that, they got another run, and they just eventually wore down Northwest Catholic, who played great. An amazing job by them, especially Vinny Burbank and Caden Davis, who was awesome. We don't have enough footage over here, but Caden Davis played absolutely brilliantly on defense. He might have had a better defensive game. I've seen him play twice live, and he had one of the best defensive games I've seen. That might be his position. He was just bone crushing. He had stopped him on a 4th down, but Sheehan ultimately gutted it out with O'Brien. An amazing performance, and their O-line and their D-line tapped on the guys. Just kind of wore him down at the end there, but an amazing job by Northwest Catholic. Durant ran 39 times for 216 yards and all 3 touchdowns. And afterwards, he talked about the job his quarterback did and the job his guys did in this game.
This is amazing. The feeling last year was unforgettable. The pit in our empty stomachs. We thought about it all year. A lot of people doubted in us, but we knew from within we could do it again. Yes, sir. No doubt. We said it every week, every practice. When we're conditioning, we look at each other, we told each other no doubt, and we left no doubt today.
With Jake going down, your senior 2-year quarterback who's, right there as the heart and soul of our team. And how he was able to get back out there and play and just do what he can do. I mean, it's special. It's special, and, he almost made me break down at the end of the game just because of what he did today.
Yeah, so an amazing job by Sheehan. Shout out to all those guys. They were really, that was a really good performance. They went in basically, I hate to say it this way, they kind of went in with one arm tied behind their back, because with Durant, who just absolutely bruised through Woodland, without O'Brien keeping you honest, they're a little easier to defend against. And despite being one that we talked about it before, but despite being one of the smallest teams out there, Northwest Catholic, the job that they did this year, they actually absolutely brought it. You can't fault them. They were close. They were very close. They had the lead. They just needed to make a stop, get the ball back, and run clock, and they just weren't able to do it. Ned, you didn't really see a lot of this game because you had some issues, but what did your thoughts on this?
Yes, well, I was having to write 2 stories in between class SS and S, and we had a technical difficulty. I won't bore you.
Sports writer problems.
Or regardless, what I will say. Coming into the season, looking at the Class S division and knowing what Sheehan had coming back from last year's SS runner-up team, my thought was, okay, if they can get through the SEC schedule, they can get through with no worse than 2-3 losses, that's going to be the team. It was just a matter of, can they get through that schedule? Head coach John Ferrazzi, he made it known he was not exactly enamored by the schedule.
Prep, and some of the teams they played. Prep. Who else?
Prep, Shelton, Amity coming off a playoff appearance last year. Cheshire. They played a tougher SEC schedule than some of the larger schools. And if you're not familiar, people, Sheehan is the smallest school, a football program in the SEC. Yeah. So the fact that they were able to navigate that schedule, beat 3 large schools, I would say they beat other large schools, but they're the smallest school. They beat almost every team on their schedule was a larger school. So, all credit to Sheehan for being able to get through that, having to deal with a small roster. As much as I mentioned before that I thought the gap between larger and smaller schools has gotten larger, I believe, yes. That being said, it is not easy trying to coach a team with a small roster. One injury can just absolutely blow up your team.
As you can see. Almost.
Yes, absolutely. So all credit to the Titans for what they were able to do to get to that point. All credit to John Ferrazzi and his staff there. John's done such a great job with that program over the last few years. They've always been a smaller program that's got talent, and you're certainly seeing it now. As for Mr. Durant, I was unaware he had that many carries in the final. He went all Zach Davis there.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Without the big breakaway 70, 80-yard touchdown runs, but again, but the credit Northwest Catholic for that.
Yeah.
Just a phenomenal job.
And one other thing, if I can, about Northwest Catholic, actually two things about Northwest Catholic. I can't say it was a surprise it got that far, based on their record and based on the fact, they did give Bloomfield a run. I mean, as far as Class L schools resumes went, it was good. Did not think they'd get out of that bracket. They did. All credit to them. And knocked off the defending champion Ansonia on the way. You mentioned Caden Davis. I wish I had seen more of him. My God, what a talent. Sean, you mentioned that he is an outstanding defensive effort. And when you mentioned, he'd be good as a D-back on the All-State team, and I chuckled because his receiving numbers, he
ridiculous.
I know he had 82 catches this year, which ties him for 15th all-time, according to the Connecticut State Record Book, lovingly put together by Jerry DeSimus. He had 1,377 yards, which would rank 18th all-time. 24 touchdowns,
which is nuts.
That ties him with Aaron Hernandez, who had 24 in 10 games back in 2005. I mean, those are absolutely absurd numbers. I don't care how many spread offenses are out there right now. I don't care how many times teams are chucking the ball 30, 40 times a game. Those are ludicrous numbers. So, man, hats off Caden Davis, man.
Yeah, and Vinny Burbank too, the quarterback, was great, and they have some kids play. They got some dudes still there. I mean, it's a small roster, but for them, here's the other thing. One more thing on them. We were all calling the Sheehan Woodland game the Class S championship, and we were completely forgetting about them. Like, well, we wish those two were playing. Do we now? I mean, that was as good a game as you're going to get, So, yeah, good job by them. All right, so we're going to kind of turn it over to Scott here, who was at the first game over in Class Double M over at the Root Field. Scott, just quickly, these are Scott's highlights, and this is his first time holding one of these fancy cameras. He usually does it with his phone when he goes out for us, but we had Pete. Pete had his baby. Will was taken out during the Class Double L boys soccer final, so he's out, and we needed someone to step up, and Scott absolutely did. So Scott's got to see Windsor looking forward to win its first state championship since 2014, and the first with a new coach, Quinn Flitting. It was kind of the same as the old coach, but the old man said the son wasn't listening to all the time. So Quinn Fleeting takes in there. They lost last year. In just devastating fashion, but Massac kind of shocked everybody by winning. They were undefeated and lost in the final game. This time they went in with a loss. But Scott, what happened here in the Class Double M final early on?
Yeah, this was an excellent game here. It looked like right away that Windsor was going to just run away with this thing. It was 14-0. AJ Robinson runs one in there, and then Masoni Brown catches one in the corner. They're up 14-0, and there's people saying, hey, we might get to a running clock here. And I'm like, hold on. Like, Bunnell is really tough. They're going to come fight back. And Roddy Ricketts came back. He runs one in from 21 yards here. They get within 14-7, or, they're back in the game. Roddy Ricketts was playing on one leg. Windsor here gets a pick at the end of the half, runs it down to the 5-yard line. I think there was like 7 or 8 seconds left. They decided to try to go for a touchdown instead of kicking a field goal. They're stopped. So they go in just up by a touchdown. Robinson ends up running one in. They go back up by 2 scores. But then Keyshawn Zimmerman here makes a beautiful catch. Bunnell gets back within a score. They get the onside kick, and they're starting to move the ball. And this is an excellent interception here on the sideline. I don't know how I caught it on the camera. That was kind of an accident, but I got it.
It was Masoni Brown, right?
The celebration here, chucking the helmets and everything, was great. One thing that we're not showing here is Windsor was trying to run the clock out, and Bunnell had one timeout, but there was a bad snap that got by Robinson. He's chasing the thing down the field. I think he fell on it around the 20-yard line with 5 Bunnell kids around him. If Bunnell picks that up, they're down 8. They could score or tie the game right there. That would have been one of the biggest calamities in state final history. I mean, it would have been the miracle of the Meadowlands, whatever you want to call it, the holy roller. Like, it was dangerous. Robinson fell on it. He gets hurt. He had been nursing a shoulder injury or something. He has to come out of the game for the next snap. and they take another snap, kind of run into the line, and then Robinson comes back in the game, punts it down to the 5, and they end up getting a safety to close the game out. Roddy Ricketts was banged up in this game for Bunnell. He gave it all he could. He was constantly going back to the table, getting his ankle wrapped. He was back in there. He had an interception. He scored a touchdown. He is such a fantastic player. A.J. Robinson was banged up in this game. He was not throwing the ball the way you normally see A.J. throw it. A.J. is obviously one of the top players in the entire state. And, he's hugging, I think his mom, I'm not sure who it was, he's crying before he comes and gets interviewed. You could obviously see what it means to these kids. Losing like that last year to Massac, coming back this year and winning this game. Great win for the program. Great win for the Fleeting family. And just an awesome day. And Bunnell's got nothing to hang their head about. They hung in there the entire time. Ty Jenkins getting that team to a state final is remarkable. I think that Bunnell's just going up, up, up. And, hey, Roddy Ricketts is still around, right? I mean, he's only a junior. So is he a junior?
Yeah. I believe so, yeah. Right?
So he's back. I mean,
is he a son? No, man, you're killing me now.
Well, anyway, he's back next year.
Okay.
But he's one of the better players in the state. And what a great job of Bunnell just to get to that game, beating Wilton and to get into the final and hanging in there with Windsor. I mean, it really looked like Windsor was going to blow this game away, and Bunnell just clawed and scratched and got their way back into it. So the opening game of the Root was awesome. Really good.
Yeah. Looked like a fast. Roddy Ricketts is a junior. For some reason, I forgot he was a sophomore last year. This was the final year for Ricky Miller. I guess they contained Ricky Miller running the ball, Scott.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. I mean, he really didn't get off very much. Windsor's defense did a really good job. Bunnell hit a couple passes deep. Like I said, they kind of just scratched and clawed. It didn't seem like they were in the game, but they were in the game. Like I said, they're down by 8. When that ball gets loose, if they fall on that, they tie that game. I mean, it's a whole different thing that we're talking about here. So Bunnell did a great job to stay in it. I thought Windsor was a top 4 team all year. Big reveal. I was the guy voting Windsor number 1 from the preseason until they lost earlier this year. But I thought Windsor was a fantastic team and deserved to be in the top 4 at the end of the season.
In here afterward, you alluded to it a little.
Sean, you're muted.
Sean, turn down your radio.
Yeah, I got it. Sorry. My microphone loves to switch off. It happens. Anyway, but what I was saying was that here afterwards, you alluded to it a little bit, that Robinson was emotional. It was his final high school game. He's going to Central next year, and he's going to be fantastic. I mean, last year he didn't have much of he was not as big a factor as he needed to be this year with so many talented guys that they graduated, and yet they still won the state championship. So roll tape on Robinson and what this was like for them.
It was amazing. I worked 4 years in a row for this. 4 years. We finally got it done my senior year, my last game ever. It means so much.
When you hear the phrase, the Windsor Warriors are state champions, what comes to mind?
It just means everything to me. It's our teammate who passed away's birthday. We put it all on the line for him today, and we got it done.
We came out here for a purpose, We came out here for the dub, because last year we couldn't get it done, but this year we did. We got it done. It feels amazing.
An amazing job obviously by them. The receivers that were great. Mazzoni Brown and Jane Compton was ridiculous this year. Lots of other nameless faces out there. We didn't really get to some of the headliners on Windsor. They clearly were one of the better teams this year. I did not see them live. They're like, Sean, you got to come to our game. When I saw them at the luncheon, they were you got to come to our game. And I'm like, no, we got Scott. He'll take care of you. Scott's take care of you. And you did. So good job, Scott. But Ned, just quickly, some thoughts on Windsor being able to win that title.
For those of you who aren't familiar with what happened to Windsor last year, it was tied late in the game, and Massac went for a field goal. And field goal was not good. However, Windsor was called for roughing the kicker. It was a bang play. Watching it, I had to watch it on film a few times to see what was going on there. Essentially, what happened is a Windsor player came in, and it was almost like a judo throw. A Massac player kind of used his weight against him, and the player nailed the kicker and moved the ball forward. They get the game-winning field goal with under a minute left. Brutal way to lose after going.
Fleet was furious. Like Rob Fleeting, the previous coach, furious.
Yeah,
he could see it, but he's like, how do you make that bang call in the state championship game with the game on the line? Like, how do you make that call? And I kind of agreed with him.
It's a tough one because I can see if it was the other way, if you didn't make that call, the Massac folk would have been irate too. But unfortunately, things happen in life. Second thing about Windsor, AJ Robinson. First of all, what a freaking year he had. He finished with 3,647 yards, which would rank second all time in state history. 50 touchdown passes, which third all time. Michael Collins threw 54 for New Canaan in 2015. The thing that I did not even realize until looking at their numbers today, I don't remember the last time I've seen a Connecticut team, or if I have ever seen a Connecticut team, have two 1,000-yard receivers. Jaden Compton had 1,435 yards.
Oh, my goodness.
Which is 18th all time. 18 touchdowns, and 8th all time is receiving yardage. Masoni Brown, 1,338 yards, 19 touchdowns.
Oh my goodness!
Maybe that's just absurd.
Absurd.
So, and last thing about Windsor, Quinn and Rob Fleeting joined the small number of head coaches who, fathers and sons, who have coached their teams to state titles. Eric Barbarito and Pete Barbarito, I believe, were the first two. Pete Barbarito with Wilbur Cross, Eric Barbarito with Hill House. And the other one that comes to mind right away is Chuck Drury, the late coach of Pomfret, and one of the finest years of men.
Great loss.
Ever met. When I got the news, I was devastated. I was at work and I just sighed. And a coworker of mine said, "What's wrong?" And I told him, I was like, "Oh God." But Chuck was the stories I could tell about Chuck. But anyways, yes, the late Chuck Drury winning at Pomfret, and then his son Mike winning over at Southington. So nice job for these. You got some good bloodlines, good coaching bloodlines in that school. And the
Marinellis too. Marinellis.
Yeah. And Rob.
Oh yeah, Marinellis. How about
thank
you, Jim?
Thank you. How could I forget that? Especially after seeing John on the sidelines.
How about Jim Biancourt Jr. win a title?
He no, he has not.
Okay.
He
was in the final though.
2 state finals. Yeah, he lost to Brookfield and lost to St. Joe's. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Good note, Ned. Look at you, coming prepared and all.
I can remember this dumb stuff, but ask me where my keys are right now. I don't know.
All right, what are we doing next? We doing New Canaan next, or we're gonna do New Canaan. We're gonna do New Canaan. We'll do this real quick. As much as we can. But back at Veterans Field, New Canaan took on Cheshire, a team that had not won a state championship since 2009, playing in the first final since 2009, taking on the 4-time defending state champions Aiden Grigorich and the Rams, facing Andrew Esposito and Ryan Brooks and the Rams. It was Rams versus Rams. And there's Lou Marinelli looking to go 4 straight against Don Druss and his cadre of coaches. Don, much more animated on the sideline than Lou. And there are the fans. There's the Cheshire side. You just saw the New Canaan side. But New Canaan went down and they went with their, what was it, their 4th running back this season? One of his, Finn Mako. It doesn't matter who they put in. Right? What's that?
He's like the 4th or 5th running back, Finn Mako, yeah.
He goes in for a touchdown, but Aiden Grigorich rips off this 72-yard run. He's chased down by Andrew Esposito, who's been great on defense. There might have been a fumble there. We actually had our photographer, Jim Shannon, say that was a fumble, but Aiden Grigorich says it's down. He punches it in the next play. Maybe we do have a game here. 7-7 Rams. But after that, it got a little hairy there for the Cheshire variety. And they went right back to, this time they went to Bennett Hegel, who took it in. This is one of the plays of the game. The quick pass out to Esposito, who doubles back against the grain and takes it all the way down inside the 20, sets up, here it is, Bennett Hegel's 4-yard touchdown run to put New Canaan up, as it turns out, for good, 14-7. Then that's when the New Canaan, there's New Canaan student body showing up actually in their Santa costumes. I love it. Cheshire as well, they did too, but I criticized them all year. That was a good showing by them. But Cheshire trying to make something happen, tries to double reverse or tries to pitch out reverse, but it's recovered by Jackson Kroll, two of his big turnovers of the day, and that set up Mako again going in for his second touchdown, 4-yard run. And it is 21-7 New Canaan. And at that point, you're like, where's the defense? Here they come. It was a good defensive play. Cheshire was hanging in there as far as that goes. But, of course, on the other side, you got Chris Silvestri, who's one of the great defensive minds right now with this run they're having. This is the huge play right here. Picked off by Jackson Kroll. Huge rush. Picked off by Jackson Kroll. He takes it all the way back for a 46-yard pick six. And all of a sudden, just like that, it is 28-7. New Canaan at halftime. Here's the big hit. Who is that? Grant Hickey with the sack. I think they brought Ryan Brooks in on the blitz to start that, which made all of that happen. Gregorius, and there's the sad Cheshire fans who also showed up in their hats. And after all that area, it was all New Canaan defense. They could not get anything going against Cheshire. And just an absolute dominant performance. There's Mikey Harriman. And that's the fourth quarter, but it might as well be 4 rings on our fingers. Cheshire did score to break the shutout. Not to break the shutout, to score again to make it, whatever it was, 31-13. And the final play, picked off. Nice slide here instead of going for the end zone, extending the game by about another hour if they didn't run the clock out.
Blake Schwartz.
There you go. Blake Schwartz. Scott's a New Canaan, guys. Kid's going to play there next year. Oh, boy. Look out. And then there are hugs on the New Canaan sideline. Silvestri gets one from Lou Marinelli and all the other coaches on there. They're great coaching staff. You heard about them all. All the kids love to completely run down every single list of their coaches. And New Canaan finishes the season 13-0. Is it one of the best New Canaan teams of all time? I mean, certainly you got the record to show it. They're up there, according to some of their players. But here's Coach Lou Marinelli after the game and admitting the play.
This senior class is one of the best I've ever had. We had 15 guys. Where's the cop? I want to arrest these kids. Juvenile delinquents. But, this senior class, right from the very beginning, their leadership really brought us to where we are. Not to mention I have probably the best staff going. Game plan and everything else. But these kids have worked so hard for this. And, I told a few of them last year at this time, we want to go back. We want to go back. And to see that and to go through the schedule that we had, I just take my hat off to these kids. They did a great job.
It's a culture, tradition, the way we fly around. It's every single second in the weight room. It's Coach Miska, Coach Silvestri, Coach Arcro, Coach Pescatello, Coach Rabasa. Every single day I practice over and over, and it's every day, and that's how we do it.
Amazing, but they called a timeout. We actually thought they were going to punt the ball, but when they came out, we were ready. Coach Sly, we had Brooksy go for a blitz, pretty sure, and I was left QB spot, so I was free and just rolling around, and I was lucky enough that it came to my hands. I would say dagger, but that definitely got us, we were definitely amped up, and we were ready to play the second half, but it definitely wasn't over.
I hadn't really looked up at the scoreboard till then, and once I saw it there, kind of, but we know, Ludlow they came back for Ludlow, they're a second half team, sort of, so we had to stay strong, and yeah, so we didn't necessarily think that was the dagger. Yeah. We had to play every second to end the game.
Yeah, we knew that they were going to be a rough and tough team, and they were going to, just try to pound the rock, but, Coach Silvestri, he schemes up everything really well, and that was the key to it. He had the outside linebacker spilling, and the middle linebackers playing free over top, and I think that's what really allowed us to, go against such a powerful offense like them.
Have you had time at all, or are you too focused on everything that goes on, to realize just how lucky this senior class has been?
No time at all. It's just been all gas, no brakes, especially this playoff run. And we're so fortunate, and what a way to go out.
It means everything. All the hard work paid off, and it's just great to see.
I like to talk about history once it's history, but now it is history. So 4 in a row, 13 other seniors. What is it, like 50 for 53 or 52 as my class? It's a legacy. I think we're up there. I leave it up to the people that know better than me. Where we rank, but I certainly think we're up there.
This is, well, I'll tell you what, if it's not, it's right up there. I know one thing, my 2008 team that went over 13-0, they're like, yeah. So I'm going to see if I can set up a game.
Let's see that game, Scott. When's that being played? Gonna play the Boyle? Let's play the Boyle.
We'll get Silvestri's 94 team back out there, too.
Yeah. I mean, there have been so many good ones over the years. I mean, even before Lou got there, but, like Pete Demerly's that era. Oh my God. I mean, this is way beyond me, but I did see the 08 team. I thought that team was great. This one might have the better defense, and that one might have the better offense. Scott, you know more about it than I. You're Mr. New Canaan. What do you think?
I mean, look, those offenses that John Marinelli ran were elite. They changed Connecticut high school football. They changed everything that everybody was doing. This defense that Chris and Coach Mitska and all the other coaches that they list run has been fantastic. And when you're only letting up whatever less than 10 points a game or whatever ridiculous number it is, it's hard to lose. Now, I will say on the other side, the guy that they don't ever talk about is the offense. And Jimmy Wynn, I mean, he runs a really good offense too. And Coach Overbeck, Scott Overbeck, who coaches those linemen, that line is as dominant as any line in the state. And I thought Maddox Hoffman, as the quarterback, did a great job this year.
Amazing job.
So overlooked when you talk about all those guys on that team. But he did a fantastic job. Really took care of the ball. He could run. He could throw. I know Pete loves him because he's a catcher in baseball. So Pete's always talking about catchers. But he just showed so much poise this year. And right now, there's no program like him. I mean, Greenwich is there. Hand is there. But 4 in a row. And
4 in a row is ridiculous.
They dominated L this year. Not that there was a lot to play against there. But, I mean, they dominated those 3 games.
Just some quick notes. I mean, Aiden Gregorich had a pretty good game against me. 141 yards rushing. He did throw for 105 yards and a touchdown pass, and he did everything he can. But still, it was just it's not flashy. I mean, they don't do it with numbers so much. New Canaan, they just kind of do it with big hits, big plays, and just kind of screwing with offensive coordinators' minds, pretty much. So, Ned, you saw him plenty of times. First of all, where do we stand? So 4 in a row. What was the last time that happened? 4 in a row was
4 in a row. That would actually have been in one of New Canaan's teams. I'm drawing an absolute blank on it right at the moment. This is the 4th instance where a team has won 4 straight state titles. Ansonia was the first, 1981 to 84, if memory serves me correct. New Canaan's also done it 2 other times. So that'd be 3rd best all time. Cheshire won 6 straight state titles.
6 straight, which is the standard.
And St. Joe's won 5.
That's right.
You mentioned, Scott, there being no program like New Canaan. Just to give everybody an appreciation for what New Canaan has been and still is. Since 2001, they have won 14 of their 16 state titles. 16 state titles is 2nd best all time with St. Joe's. They've won again. So again, 14 state titles this millennium. They are the team of the millennium. It is not even close.
Yeah.
New Canaan's defense. They're kind of like an anaconda. Actually, New Canaan as a whole is kind of like an anaconda in that they didn't flash you. They didn't have those splash plays on offense. That hasn't been their thing the last few years. But they just slowly wear you down and choke you out. It's amazing to watch. They just gradually choke you out. To their defense. I'm trying to think of the best defenses I've seen. The 1998 Bloomfield team, still the best team I've ever seen. Andrew Pinnock, Jamal Lewis. Oh my God. Greenwich 2018, which if you believe in calpreps.com, they're a service that does they rank teams with a computer model from across the country. In the time of CalPreps, now hsratings.com, they rated Greenwich the best team over the 20 years they've been doing this for Connecticut.
Which was 07 or 18?
2018, yeah.
2018,
On Marinelli's year, correct. When we had hot Marinelli on Marinelli action in the final. But St. Joe's defense this year was also fantastic. I mean, folks, the defense did not lose in that game against Brookfield. They gave up 6.
Did not.
And that's not to go back on it, not to go on a sidebar here. St. Joe's, the only team that did not let New Canaan's offense score. They lost on a pick 6.
Yeah.
Oh, they beat Southington too. But
speaking of which, who was saying it to that Andrew Esposito probably had a better defensive? Was that you, Ned?
Oh yeah. Someone who would know. Yeah, somebody who would know said to me, yeah, he's probably a better D-back than he is a receiver. So you're telling me his secondary position as a secondary player is his better position?
Yeah, I mean, they don't like to play guys 2 ways, and he sort of forced his hand. They're like, we cannot not play this kid on defense. He's probably the best DB in the state.
Yeah.
That play that he made, causing that fumble, they didn't call it a fumble, but he's 20 yards behind that kid and caught up to him and slapped the ball out. I mean, that's one of the most unbelievable plays of the weekend.
Yeah.
Mr. Esposito definitely is getting his name etched in the lore of New Canaan football for sure. I'll try to make this quick now since I've been rambling here. New Canaan's defense, 90 points this season. They allowed 90 points in 13 games. Best in the state. To put that in more perspective, only 4 times did a team get double digits on them, and nobody scored more than 13. Cheshire and Trumbull, and Trumbull did it in a 45-13 loss.
Yeah.
Just that defense. And again, it wasn't anything that's going to make you go, oh my God. I mean, they did not lay anybody out on Cheshire like we saw Greenwich do to Southington. Oh my God. But just an amazing, amazing defense. Chris Silvestri, I don't know what he's making, but I told Lou, running back after they have a great season, they give the defensive linemen gold watches or whatever. If he's not giving Chris Silvestri a watch every year, he is long overdue for freaking Timexes.
Yes.
Silvestri is fantastic at this. And not to depress anybody, but ladies and gentlemen, Maddox Hoffman, quarterback, junior, Finn Mako, who was the leading rusher for New Canaan, 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards, junior. Jackson Kroll, who had that pick 6 that made a 21-7 game, a 28-7 game, junior. They're not going away, ladies and gentlemen.
Who's that freshman coming in next year?
He's not able to say anything. Oh, by the way, lest I forget, I'm sorry. Just going back to Finn Maka for a second. I was told on the sidelines he was the number 2. He was second on the depth chart as a running back. But next man up. Henry Stein, high ankle sprained against Darien. He's out. Joseph, and Jeffrey, I hope I say his last name right. Moultrie. Is that correct?
I don't know. I've never said it out loud.
Okay. Of course,
you never heard it out loud either.
We're writers. We're writers.
Yeah. He carried the load against the Hartford Co-op, or as we call them, Hartford City All-Stars. He suffered a concussion in the semifinals. So it was next man up, and Henry Stein goes out. Henry Stein. Sorry, slow down, Ned. Finn Mako goes out there and runs for, and I'll look it up right here, 21 carries for 162 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not bad.
The offensive line,
bringing back a lot of that offensive line. Connor Furman is coming back. Like those kids they're back. Regan, who's just a monster. Those guys are all back. They're all juniors.
Oh man, goodness! Look out, everybody.
Guess what? They're going to be even more fun to play next year. Have fun.
Oh my goodness! All right, we are an hour and 18 in here. We got 2 more games left to go. Danny, let's switch it up here and start with Greenwich. Let's leave the best for last, if you don't mind. Wave your hand. Yeah, there we go. Greenwich, Southington. It's been a while. Southington, remember, beat Greenwich. Remember in the Alliance game a few years ago? Would that be the same here? I famously picked Southington to win this game, and all I heard was that, how could you do that, Sean? What are you, nuts? Somebody ticked these guys off because they came out blazing with Kelly and Hector Lopez running the ball. And now, speaking of offensive line, there's carrying it down to the goal line. They take the ball, they score on a Kelly touchdown run, 7-0, and they go for 2 and get the 2-point conversion to go up 15. That was Nick Mussolini. Then we get Golden with the pickoff to get things going defensively, and Greenwich is in business, sets up a Kelly 8-yard touchdown run around the left side. It is suddenly 15-0 New Canaan early. And Rob Levesque looking a little concerned there. But Southern did show up for a little bit. They got a pickoff by Walter Myershevsky with an interception. That was good. But then they got a block punt by Andrew Steedham to set Greenwich up in great position again. But Southern's defense does show up. Pickoff by Mason Nardi to stop the bleeding there. It's only 15-0. But as we discussed, defensively, Greenwich was outstanding. Lights out. Here's the hit. Jack Kelly, bang! Just lays the kid out. That happened all game long. It was, I don't know how else to describe it, but they were just going nowhere on Southington. And there goes their run back, Ben Bolior. This is the play. He gets crushed by Carroll and knocked out of the game. And Rob Levesque is like, God, what is going on here? The quarterback got knocked out of the game. And at that point, you're like, oh, my goodness, this is just an absolute pounding. They brought the sledgehammers out. There's Carroll again, big sack. You'll see another one by him. Here. This was a very controversial play. He knocks him right as he's going out of bounds, gets the flag, almost starts a fight. Thankfully, got some guys involved. The Southern guys were able to cool things down there. Let's send them all back, get back to your side. And but they also brought it on offense. Here's Lopez, bang, running over 2 guys to set up his own touchdown. A 2-yard run, does the old bird, the Marinelli compares to Greenwich bird. And then Phil Tarantino finds our guy, Jack Kelly, again for a 3rd touchdown. And the route was on. It was, I don't remember, 29-0 at the half. Yep, there it is, 29-0 at the half. And from there, it was all Greenwich. Well, there was a touchdown run that I cut out accidentally by Ben Bolior, but Greenwich's Kelly goes in again for his 4th of the day. That was it pretty much. They got one more score by Tarantino, runs up the gut. Ned, that was a great fake. It looked like it was going to Lopez, but he runs up the gut and let the celebration begin. Greenwich is back-to-back Class Double-L champions. Final score, 45-6. An absolute destruction, especially defensively. I mean, I've seen a lot of hard-hitting games in my time, Ned. And that was up there, at least once for one team, up there with the FCIAC championship of 09, Central and Staples. Now that was a two-way, two-way bloodletting. But the bone-crushing hits in this game, Greenwich was out for blood, and I don't say that lightly. There were some questionable calls, and afterward they talked a lot about that. Jack Kelly, there was teams like, guys, this was a violent game, and Jack Kelly was like, yeah. Football's violent. Roll tape on the New Canaan winning. Greenwich winning this championship.
What happened?
I had to make a brown.
It's a tough one.
You gotta stop hitting on Greenwich, man.
Stop hitting on 2 years in a row.
2 years you keep hitting on Greenwich.
2 years.
Okay, go.
Hey, it's all right. Sean, you wanted to get one. I understand it.
2 years in a row.
That was motivation. Thanks, Sean. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Sean.
I'm going to get run over right now.
Here we go.
It feels surreal. You know, we were coming to this season. We said we can't get complacent. We know we got to earn everything back. And these guys, I'm so proud of every single one of them. From the freshmen to the seniors, they work their tails off every single day. And now we're champions again, baby. We can just say that for the rest of our lives.
I mean, it feels great. 3rd team to do it ever in Greenwich High, and it's amazing to stamp every one of these kids' names in GHS history. So it feels great, man.
I said it last week. It's not about how
how you are, how well you're playing in the middle of the season, especially the way standings are now. What matters is how you finish your season. We find the recipe. We find that correct chemistry to be right when it matters. And this team, more than any team that I've seen in Double L playoffs, has put on a showcase of who they truly are the last 3 games this season. Couldn't be more proud of this team.
We were just fired up. We were so motivated going to the game, just the idea of going back to back. And we were just playing with so much physicality and just anger, and that certainly showed.
Defense has been great all season, but the physicality they demonstrated tonight was above and beyond where they've been this whole season.
Our coaches preach it all the time. I've said it before. They preach us. We gotta play violent. We just gotta play as hard as we can. Tonight we brought the energy, and you know it got a little chippy. They were talking a little bit. I know we were retaliating a little bit, but you know we went out there with a violent mentality, and it was a violent game. And football's a violent game, and we took care of business.
There was no bad blood or anything. It's just state championship fever. We waited around. We were watching games all day since 10 o'clock this morning. We were waiting for our opportunity, getting hungrier and hungrier, and they just seized the moment tonight.
We knew it was the last game for most seniors out here, so we just decided to throw our bodies around like no other. We listened to our coach's game plan, and this is ultimately what we wanted. We didn't want to just make it. We wanted to win it, and that's the result, man. Two championships in a row, and couldn't end on a happier note.
Of course we would. You know, we want to play the best possible teams we can. And I'm a firm believer that a state championship, without question, especially in Double L, should be up against the best quality opponent that there is. New Canaan is undefeated, and we had our shot against them, and we lost. But a Week 6 game should not define anyone, and I would love that opportunity.
Yeah. First of all, shout out to Colin Fowler and the rest of the guys on the side, the whole lineman on the sideline, absolutely giving me the business for picking against them. You can hear me at the beginning. I'm trying to make up ground. And they're like, that's the second year in a row you've done this. And they absolutely deserved it. I mean, Brian Hockner said he was going to call in today and absolutely just give it to me in this. But guys, mea culpa. I will not make that mistake again. Like, I feel like they're mad at me. And our guy, Brian Carpenter, is talking to Tony Morello after the game, and he thought Tony was mad at him, but Tony was so fired up. They were something that just, they felt like they were getting a little overlooked, and maybe even the poll reflected that at the end. But they went out there to make an absolute statement, and you could tell that, you know, it's almost like they were like, this is too easy for us. Give us some opponents in Class Double L, which admittedly was not very strong. I mean, New Britain got knocked out. You had some other teams in there, you know, getting in with like 5-5, and then you got the Fairfield Prep absolutely but they kind of got demolished by Greenwich too. Greenwich had something to prove. They're mad that they lost to New Canaan. They're mad that they lost to Wilton. Here's my question to those guys. Where was this effort? I know it's a state championship, but where was this effort in those 2 games? It was a whole different team. So he's absolutely right. You can't define by the midseason, but when you look at the whole thing, you're like, you guys got to. It's hard to. I get it. It's hard to bring it every week, but those are the weird ones. I don't know. They had something to prove here, guys. Though Greenwich, and they're chirping about being ranked number 2 too. I mean 3. Excuse me.
It certainly has a case based on the fact that they decimated Prep twice and hand beat them by 3. If you want to go by comparative scores,
fair.
There you go. Now, of course, you can counter with the fact that they lost to Wilton, which lost to Brookfield, which lost to Berlin. If you want to keep going down that road, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, go ahead. What you saw?
Yeah, I mean, look, I understand what Anthony's saying, that you play your best football and you want to be geared up for now, but you lost to New Canaan, you lost to Wilton. Like, beat Wilton if you want to be in the conversation for number 1. Like, you can't be number 1. Are they number 2? I think they're the second best team in the state.
Did you vote them too?
I voted them too. I thought Hand was great. I think there's so little between those 2 teams, but the size of Greenwich, the size of their line. I know Hand is big too, but Greenwich's defense is just so elite. I mean, it's right up there with New Canaan and St. Joe's, and Hand's is again excellent. I think it'd be a great game. I'd love to see a Final Four with Windsor, Hand, Greenwich, and New Canaan, but New Canaan was undefeated. The FCIAC set up a schedule this year to put all the best teams against each other to eliminate these conversations, and that's why they did this, right? So New Canaan played Wilton and Staples and Greenwich and Darien and St. Joe's. They all played each other. So there's really no argument from Greenwich here. Like, you got to play every week, and I understand what you're saying. You're not defined by a week 6 loss, but when it comes to picking a number 1 team in the state, the undefeated team that beat you gets the bragging rights.
You mentioned, Sean, the physicality of the game. I did not get to watch the first half as I was writing a story on the New Canaan Cheshire game. There were at least 4 instances when I was looking down at my computer writing and would hear it. Oh!
Ooh! You can hear it in the field.
Yeah. The loudest of them was the hit on Ben Ballou. I hope I'm saying his name right. Yeah, I looked up and he's just motionless on the field, and I'm thinking, oh, that does not look good. That looks concerning. Brian Carpenter sitting next to me goes, that might be the most violent hit I've seen in years. And that was just the entire game. It's one thing that they ran through the playoffs and beat teams by a combined score of 116-23, but my God, the physical beating they just put on them. Sean, I'm glad you mentioned that Central Staples game. That is the gold standard.
That is the gold standard
beatings I've ever seen. I mean, Central was, oh my God, that game, the hits they put on Staples. God bless Staples for winning that game and being conscious, but the way they were getting hit that game.
Incidentally, incidentally on that, just to kind of take us back a bit.
Yeah.
Staples to this day says that game is why they eventually lost the class. They got down. Remember, it's 21-0 or something against Cheshire in that class. Final. Yeah. And they had to come back to expend all their energy to come back, and they lost on a fumble in overtime. Yeah. But they to that they said, because they played the FCIAC championship. It wasn't a game on your schedule. They played it the week before Thanksgiving, and then they played a great, I don't know, it wasn't a great Greenwich team, but they played Greenwich, and then they had to play who they had to play in the semi. They had to play in 2009. Oh man. They had to play Xavier before Xavier became Xavier with the running back on that team. And all those dudes who ended up winning 3 straight state championships. And that was a hard-fought game. They got through that, and then they went to Cheshire, and Cheshire just kind of like went up on them big, and that was that. That game, that FCIAC game remains still to this day just one of the most violent games I've ever seen. And
when you're looking at those highlights, it's all the linebackers. It's Para, it's Carroll, and it's Kelly, who are just laying hits on these guys, just running free and nailing kids. Jack Kelly, I mean, what a year that kid had. He was their other running back, too. I mean, he's taking direct snaps and running the ball. Like, I love those 3 linebackers. They bring it every time. That's the second time I've heard Kelly just talk about violence after the game. And football's a violent game. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah, he's not very big, but he brings a lot. All these guys. Yeah. I mean, Justin Carroll was just an animal. And I mean that nicely. I mean, don't hurt me, Justin. Jeez. These guys that Para was in there. I mean, there's so many guys that. So they they had something to prove there. Maybe they're not got the ranking, but guess what, guys? There's always next year, and you got brothers. They're all coming through. There's some juniors on this team. They're going to be fine, Ned. But I don't know. Were something else on the Greenwich before we go to Berlin?
Just a few quick rambling thoughts about Greenwich. Covered the Wilton game. And when they came out with Kelly taking direct snaps with 2 tight ends on an already ginormous offensive line and putting Lopez in there as another blocker, and he had an H-back. Oh God. I was not to go hyperbole, but inside I was weeping with joy to see that, to see Kelly just smashing away. As far as what Mr. Kelly referenced about football being violence.
Got the right shirt up.
Yeah. I mean, as far as where Greenwich finished in the rankings, I've been coordinating a top 10 poll since 1998. Yeah, I'm old, folks, but I'm still immature.
We're all old.
Yeah. Listen, being ranked number 1, it's great. But it should only be the cherry on top of the sundae. Winning a state title is what everyone's going to remember at the end. 20 years from now, when you go to your high school reunion, you're going to walk in the gym. What's the first thing you're going to see? That football banner, 2025 state championship.
They're not going to see ranked number 3, or maybe they will, but nobody's going to care.
Exactly. And, as I love rankings, I've been coordinating it for a while, but rankings are a collection of opinions, and we all know what opinions are like. So, kids, if you get a number 1 ranking, coaches, you get number 1 ranking, again, cherry on top of the sundae, but do not let it diminish from the fact you won a state title. That is the most important thing, not the ranking, the state championship.
Incidentally, I still have the program from the FCIAC championship. That game was so good. But I lost all my footage except for the last 2 minutes, which was the most important 2 minutes of the game. But I still keep that program. Man, that's just an all-time great game. Love
that video is online. Your video from that game is still online.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. If you guys want to check it out, just go. It's on the Connecticut Post. When I did it from Connecticut Post. That was my first year filming. And I'm like, I actually do this pretty well at this. But the last thing on that, I should get Mars, Rankowitz, Christian Gill. I mean, I know I did get Christian Gill. I tried to do a video with the Christian Gill and all the Central team about that game and about the anniversary of their last great team, right? And we actually filmed a lot of footage, and but then the pandemic hit, and I never had time to put it together because our lives all changed. I still have that footage. I'd love to get Mars together. I'd love to do a lot of legacy games. That'd be a lot of fun. But get Dave Catalina and talk about that game. There's some questionable calls he made that could still haunt that team to this day. But they're all doing well, all the Central players, by the way. And I wish that team would come back. I really do. But times have changed, certainly. All right.
Can I have one last thing about that Central game?
Absolutely. We're over budget on time, so whatever.
I know. Because of me, we're now almost to 2 hours. If memory serves me correct, someone who was at that Central Staples game at the end of the season ranked Central number 1.
Yeah,
that's Central right. Central did not even make the playoffs. But they said they had never seen such a physical team like that before. God almighty.
Here was the thing, that the next year they made it 8 teams of 4 divisions.
Yeah.
The next year. Partially, I believe, because it was a crime to leave Central off. They were better than, who else was in Double L that year?
I'm drawing an absolute blank. Well, I mean, you mentioned
still
Cheshire.
Sick. No, I'm sorry. Staples and Cheshire were Double L because L was that year was Pomprog and Notre Dame. Remember? So Double L was Cheshire and Staples. So right? Is that right? Now you're gonna kill. Everyone's talking
moving on.
Now. Moving on. Let's go. Let's get. We got one more game to get to, and then we're gonna call it a season here, at least for this season of the Meat Grinder. Thanks you guys for joining us here. We're gonna go to Class M over at Root Field. It's the 6:30 game. It was Berlin kind of took a good lead early. Cody Puzio scored on a 1-yard run. Brookfield did respond with Tyler Buttendorf's 54-yard run to tie the game. Great. What a season Buttendorf has had. He was an amazing player all year. Then Eli Rice, who had a great game, as you can see. 5-yard touchdown pass from Puzio to put them up 15-7. Then everything kind of got crazy. Here was a big play down by Brookfield to get themselves into position to possibly tie the score late. Last drive, gets down to the goal line, and then Thad Ballsy punches it in for the 1-yard run. So what's Brian Mahler do? He went for it for 2 last year. He decided, I'm going to do it again. The heck with it. We're going to win this game right now. And right through the middle, Buttendorf gets it over the line. Brookfield's up 15-14. They're going to win their first state championship since 2015. On the ensuing kickoff, there was 56 seconds left. Eli Rice takes it, jukes right, goes back left. He's got one man to beat, and he's gone. An 80-yard kickoff return touchdown, one of the most electric finishes in state football history. As Scott said, right up there with Newtown, though maybe not as significant. Berlin makes it a 13-0 season. John Capodice comes back triumphantly, leads them after getting run out of there. Here's the last play of the game, picked off. It was on a Hail Mary, and Berlin wins it. John Capodice, who got run out of town, had to forfeit all those games because of the recruiting allegations and violations that CIAC found. Comes back. They say, we're going to give you another shot. He had a lot of fans in the administration, a lot of people who said, we want you back, Cap. And wow, an amazing performance by a team. He got an all-timer right there. Berlin had been through some tough finals losses, but this one was an absolute epic. And Eli Rice, as Scott said, they dumped the Gatorade or whether the water on a cold night on Cap. Eli Rice will go down in history. That'll define him for the rest of his life. The way he did that, and afterwards, he was a great interview too about this game.
First off, before they kicked it to me, I'm like, they better kick it to me. I want them to kick it to me. I thrive in high pressure moments, and that's what happened. I saw the lanes, made the cuts, and got to the end zone.
So you saw it was wide open? Like,
yeah. I mean, I saw the guys coming, just had to make a few cuts, normal stuff, and I just had to go from there. There was so many emotions. I mean, I felt everything. I felt pain. I felt happy. I was gassed, but we got it there, and we brought another chip to Berlin. They were just like, keep your heads up. We got to keep going. We got to keep pushing. And the coaches really just brought us through everything. I mean, they always kept teaching us, telling us to keep our heads up. The game's not over. And I mean, honestly, it was barbecue chicken from there.
You watching that, just like, oh my God.
I was like going crazy. I was holding coaches back and everything. I was so happy. Best moment of my life. It's amazing. We do all this for the town. The community has so much support for us. They're always feeding us every week. Like this morning, we had breakfast and everything else. And we just do it for them. We do it for them. I'm so happy.
It's kind of surreal, and I honestly had a dream that Eli Rice would be the MVP. And to see him run that kickoff back and come to fruition was amazing. So proud of the kids and the coaches. I mean, I was fortunate to have done this before. I had an SCAC championship. We had a state championship before. But I really wanted to do it with these kids. Principal Mente, DeFranco, and Superintendent Benigni, who basically stuck with me and gave me this opportunity to come back and lead our program and our kids and our community. So, you know what? It's just, God is good.
Yeah, look. Amazing. An amazing game. You couldn't ask for a better ending to it. It's been a long time. Again, Berlin, the last time they won when Cap was the head coach, that was 2009, right? And all of a sudden I'm drawing a blank. That was a great team. There were some teams that they had that were undefeated, could not get it done in the final game. They got the recruiting issue, it was a mess. They had to forfeit all his games, and it looked like that was it for John Capodice, but someone decided to give him another chance, and his players absolutely love him. When you talk to them, they said our coaching staff here is great, and they are. It's an interesting community, Berlin, and you know what? Hey, everyone deserves, I guess, a second chance. And even though that happened and they got burned, they said, "You're our guy again, Cap. Let's go." And you couldn't ask for a better story. One of the better stories, I think, this year in Berlin, wherever you fall on that whole mess from it was 10 years ago. So. I love a good redemption story, and those players. Berlin, listen, a lot of people are screaming at us. Where's Berlin in the ranks? They cracked in there once. And I kept looking at them saying, like, man, these guys, they're so versatile. There's so many different dangerous weapons. And I just think they're going to probably win. I was a little worried about it because I know Brookfield's like, oh, we need the motivation, Sean. But this pick, I'm glad to say, went my way. So good for Berlin, 13-0. I don't know, Scott. You didn't even get. Were you mad you didn't stick around for it?
Look, I picked Brookfield. This is an all-time 2 years in a row just gut punch or whatever you want to call it for Brookfield. I mean, like, to be that close last year, to go for two and not get it, to get it this year, get the two, and everyone on that sideline must have been like, we did it, guys. Like, we overcame all this. It's all back here, and then to see that kid running free down the sideline, I can't even imagine. And they get a chance at the end zone. They throw a Hail Mary from the 50 or whatever it is. Thad Ballsy is one of my favorite players of all time. The quarterback linebacker combo, like that's a dream.
He was a D lineman last year. Jeez.
Quarterback D end.
Yeah,
last year, but he was linebacker this year because they needed a linebacker because they lost Michael.
So obviously brutal, just so brutal for Brookfield. I mean, those kids are just going to live with those 2 years forever. I mean, that's terrible. But man, Berlin, what a great game and what a great comeback. And that kid should have, sandwiches named after him at local delis up there or whatever, a rice bowl maybe, but arancini, like a rice ball.
Hot rice.
Eric, Scott, just go slam your head in the door for that one, please. Oh, God.
I mean, like you said, great point of Brookfield. I mean, even Brian Mauer had to text me late that night. Now I'm a basket case because I've covered 4 games.
So bad for Brookfield, just so bad.
But he goes, "Can you believe that? Can you believe that happened?" He everything, like you said, Scott, they did everything that happened last year to get them. Like they came back, they got the 2-point conversions. He didn't shy away from it and kick it and say, "Let's play OT." He got it, and it was going to pay off. It was going to pay off for them. Unfortunately, there's a kickoff still to come. So that's a tough loss. And tough year for Brian. His wife had leukemia, and then she's doing better now. We had a story on that. Tough year for Brian, but amazing coaching job to get them back into this position. Beating St. Joe, no small thing. Buttendorf played great. Ballsy played great. Chase Sylvia played great. There were some great players. Brookfield's got some football talent still on the pipe. So, Ned, any thoughts on this game?
The part of my brain that just remembers things from too far back, kind of find it funny, ironic maybe, that Berlin wins on such a wild play at a route. Because if memory serves me, it was 2007 when they played Ledyard, and near the end of the game, they went on a drive, and they were at the goal line, and Berlin thinks they scored. Referee said no, and they lost a heartbreaker to Ledyard. So a gazillion years later, there they are at a Root Stadium winning that game. All credit to Berlin. It is safe to say that every coach that was not at St. Joe's who was in the M playoffs was worried and very worried about playing St. Joe's. So the fact that Berlin was the one that walked away with the Class M title, hats off to you guys. Hats off. You did. They always say you beat who's on your schedule. Hey, you guys did it. You beat everyone on your schedule, and oh, by the way, you beat the team that beat St. Joe's. So, yep, you're Class M. You're Class 7 champs. You deserve whatever ranking you get.
Absolutely.
Eli Rice, by the way, I don't know what his future job plans are or anything, but if he's looking for something, he can certainly make himself a career as a mouthpiece, as a manager in the UFC, or as a professional wrestling manager in All Elite Wrestling or World Wrestling. And one other thing about Berlin, I don't know why this popped in my head, but something that's always amazed me about them is they've always been a team that's never used 1 or 2 guys to beat you. It's always been like 10 different guys who are all swapping, 500-yard seasons, or quarterback will throw for 600. I know Campuzio this year carried a little more of the load than some of the other Berlin teams, but they've from when Joe was there, I cannot say his last name.
Erasimowicz.
Thank you. I mean, I can't spell it much less than
Erasimowicz.
Thank you. And John Capodice too. They would always attack you offensively with 17 different dudes. So, and obviously they had more than enough dudes to win a state title. Hey, good job, Merlin.
Yeah, no, that was an all-time. I mean, you look like you're winning. Oh shoot, we just lost. Oh wait, we won.
Yeah.
Greatest moment in their lives, and like I said, I love a good redemption story. So good job by them. I think
one other thing.
Yeah, sure.
God, I feel like Columbo here. One more thing. I just dated myself. Circling back to Brookfield. Just absolutely devastating way to lose. This will sound cornball, but for the Mueller family, they got their state championship when Diana, Brian's wife, was thankfully declared clean of the rare form of leukemia she had. So, yeah, it sucks to lose a state championship. It sucks to lose 2 years in a row like that. I mean, that is as brutal back-to-back fashions championship, ways to lose a championship game in back-to-back years that I can remember. But yeah, the most important thing is that Dinah Mueller is cancer-free, and the way that the team rallied around her. I mean, Brian Carpenter wrote a great feature about it.
Oh, he's got more. He got more coming. We got the whole thing that kind of ties all these teams together. The Ciotti and Mike Ciotti battle. We got that's coming this week. We were trying to get it up before there was the championships, but Mike Ciotti's wife is John Cabot's sister, and you have Ciotti. Ciotti coached at Cheshire, and what else? I'll give you more. I got more. Who else? They got more. And Han winning the state championship with his dad at the game over there, and just so many crazy things with the Ciotti family, and that's it's wild. So we look forward to that. But yeah, definitely if you haven't read it yet on the Mueller family and his wife Dana, it was a great story by Brian Carpenter. So be sure to check that out. But what a way to go! What a way to go out for Berlin. Anyway, guys, I mean that's our state championship run there. I know we're way over right now. We are at 150. We're pushing 2 hours. What's another 5 minutes? Players of the year. I mean, right now AJ Robinson is the Gatorade State Player of the Year. I've been, you had Esposito, you had Allard talking, but I'm kind of thinking he might have wrapped it up this year. I know you talked about his stats, Ned. But is there anybody else? For Player of the Year?
You go first, Scott.
No, I mean, I think AJ Robinson's Player of the Year. Espo, great season. The playing both ways, unbelievable. But I mean, Robinson carried them to that championship. He was so fantastic all year. His numbers are ridiculous. One of the best seasons ever by a quarterback in Connecticut history. He should be the Player of the Year. There's a lot of great performances out there, but he's the guy this year.
Yeah, it's a good redemption story too, because in last year's final, they really didn't throw a whole lot. I'm blanking on his first name, Coyle, the receiver.
Tyler Coyle.
Thank you.
That's back 10 years ago. Yeah.
He had gotten banged up the week before in the semifinals, so he was limited.
Coyle's that's a different era. You're talking
different
about
era. Who am I miss?
You're talking about all of a sudden now you screwed me up. Kashmir Lewis.
Thank you, Kashmir Lewis. I'm sorry.
Coyle's
this is what happens. This is what happens when you become old and have taken too many blows to the head.
John Manning was running out a lot of Wildcat stuff.
Yeah. So he didn't get to throw a lot in that final. So for him to come back this year and absolutely nuke teams on a regular basis with the pass, it's a heck of a redemption story. I mean, I don't know how to call it a redemption story, but it's a hell of a story. Absolutely, Player of the Year, no problem.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a slam dunk. I mean, maybe there would have been a case, but Esposito, he was hurt. They didn't. I mean, not that he was out for any significant games, but that team, the New Canaan team, it seemed like it was literally the next man up mentality. Like Andrew Esposito, they got him double covered. We're gonna throw it to Ryan Brooks, and he's gonna be Andrew Esposito for this game at receiver.
I think New Canaan still wins without him. Windsor does not even come close without Robinson.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of case I'm making. Yeah.
When everything revolved around AJ Robinson there, everything. Yeah. So
all right.
You want to do
fair enough? Coach of the Year. I kind of tipped my hand a little bit there. I'm kind of like, Cap to come back and get that and be 13-0. I know you look 10 years ago, like, well, look at all that mess. Well, you know what? It's 10 years later and they trusted him and he came right in and he just picked up where he left off and won an amazing state championship. 13-0 is, I don't care who it is hard to go 13-0. And beating a Brookfield team like that, and coaching those kids, I think Capodice is clearly the leader in the clubhouse. There are other guys out there. Ned, you have a few guys.
Yeah, I mean, Capodice. Whatever you want to say about him, the dude can coach. He can absolutely. Coach. So if you want to go by just what he does as what he does with the X's and O's, oh yeah, absolutely, no problem. I think Eric Becker deserves some mention, if for no other reason that They were the fourth smallest. I hate the large. Shut up.
Yeah, I know. You don't want to get that. We already killed Eric for that.
For his sweater, just for the sweater.
Yeah, they're the fourth.
We already
smallest
killed
school
Eric for the Goliath thing with prep.
Yeah.
So
they're the fourth smallest school in Class L. Pardon, SEC. And for 2 years in a row, they've won the league. I mean, just winning the SEC 2 years in a row, that's dang good.
Yeah.
The name that popped in my head last night, and this is for you, Sheldon, on the chat. Theo Harrison, the Weaver Hartford Public Classical Co-op. I know there will be people who say, well, they play in the Pequot. Don't ever make fun of America's favorite conference, ladies and gentlemen. Love myself the Pequot.
I love the Pequot.
For those of you who aren't familiar with the story, Hartford Public and Weaver, which had been rivals forever, like dating back to the early 1900s, there have just been so many magnets, charters, you name it, kind of schools that have popped up in Hartford. There's now 17, and over the course of the millennium, it's just all just drained numbers out of your Weavers and your Hartford Publics and your Buckleys, and because of all that, the two teams had to come together and they added classical. I know, talking to Jaden Booth after they beat Ellington to qualify for the state playoffs, he mentioned at the beginning of the season, we kind of had to get some guys on the same page because there was still that rivalry. I don't know if bad blood is the right word, but there's still that rivalry between Prep and Weaver to get over.
Yeah,
a very small roster, and not a lot of seniors. Starting quarterback, whose name I'm blanking out.
Freshman, Caden Cloy. I forget his first name, but Claffin, Caden Claffin Coy.
Thank you. Alliteration. Yeah, freshman quarterback. They started a lot of young dudes on that team. All that being said, between a new program, low numbers, Hartford football, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle for city football across the state. It's certainly been the case in Hartford. Yeah. With all those factors combined, I think Theo Harrison absolutely deserves a look. He certainly deserves all the credit in the world, he and his staff, for what they did. Maybe it's a left field opinion, but he'd be my guy. And if nothing else, to me, what Public, Weaver, Classical, or they just said we're Hartford. We're just Hartford.
I love it.
Hartford. Yeah.
Scott, we gotta get out of here. We're here 2 hours. Scott, you got the coach of the year?
No. If you ever need a filibuster, we'll bring that in.
Oh no, absolutely. Hey, last thing. This is the most important thing that we have to ask. When did Pete Papadapa and his wife become parents? When did that happen?
That happened on Monday. I don't know. I have not talked to Pete beyond that. He sent a message on Tuesday that he was a proud pop of a baby girl, Charlotte.
Okay.
So,
and I asked because I asked last week and I was told.
Or was that Wednesday? I don't even remember now.
Okay. Who knows what day it even is, Sean? Geez.
I don't know. I don't even know what time it is. I feel like I've been doing this podcast as long as I covered the games on Saturday. So we're going to wrap it up finally. Let's get out of here. Thanks to Scott Erickson and thanks to Ned Griffin for dropping some serious football knowledge on us. Absolutely loved it, Ned. I called Ned. I texted Ned. Ned, we need a guy. He didn't get back to me until about 4 o'clock. And he said, yeah, sure. What the heck? Or what's that? 5 o'clock?
That's when I woke up at 4.
Whatever. When Scott was already gone, let's do it. Let's do it, guys. This was an absolute blast. Thank you for everybody for sticking around. Sorry for some of the production issues we had. It's not as much as we had early this season. Thanks for being here all season long. An amazing season. I enjoyed every minute of it. Thank you for everybody out there who said all these great things to us about how much they love the show. I got refs telling me. I got parents telling me. I got kids telling me. All the kids. Oh, my God. I completely forgot that to put Tim O'Malley's barbecue chicken. We got to do that. He said barbecue. We got 2 guys this week say barbecue chicken, and we didn't put it in once in this episode. That's a fail.
No, he said it in the episode. He said it.
He did?
Yeah, it was the clip that we showed. It was not the hand one, the Berlin one.
Okay. Oh, he didn't say in the Berlin one.
Yeah, the Berlin kid said barbecue chicken.
Tim, big time Tim, who geeked out when he saw me. He's like, SPB, oh my God, I'm a huge fan. I'm like,
celebrity.
What? But he was like, he said it. He said Hand started it again after St. Joe beat him last year. Hand started it, and everyone did it all season long. So he says it in the Berlin. God bless. He said it. Was it Eli? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Correct.
Yeah. God bless Eli. All right, there you go.
Barbecue chicken for everybody.
Yeah. So let's have a big barbecue, man. But I think Danny's gonna try and put something together about all the times kids said barbecue chicken. Man, they were going nuts this year about that. So awesome. It comes down to Jermaine Hatchett last year. Shout out. He was the one who started it all. And they're still talking. Jermaine, you started something here. So awesome job. And I loved it to death. It was so much fun this year. Thank you Ned for joining us. Thanks for all your great work. And Scott, obviously. Thank you for joining. And good luck to your son next year. Maybe they win the 5th straight title. Maybe he gets in there. I don't know. I don't know about new freshmen. We'll see. But anyway, away we go on to I got to put the basketball together. I got to get out of here. So let's wrap it up. This is for Scott Erickson and Nitty Griffin. I'm Sean Patrick Bully. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and all that good stuff.
And we're over 2 hours.
This has been the Beat Grinder on Game Time CT. Bye.